Welcome back to Naughty Boy Fight Picks. I'm your host, Mike Goldberg.
And I'm Todd Williams.
Hey Matt,
Hey.
what would you say if I told you I could get hold of some like pretty high quality sackcloth
Yeah,
Nike equipment?
yeah. High
Yeah.
thread count?
Yeah. You familiar with Track Jesus?
No?
Pole vaulting Jesus?
Please explain.
Well, I feel like this is what he would wear.
And
Sackcloth.
cure leprosy and that shit.
I will. If anyone has some leprosy they want cured or just
Subscribe in the bio.
I'm happy to touch that leprosy. We're
Performing miracles.
recording live today from the Ring Gym.
75A Ashley Street, Braybrook. Is that why you looked at me for the?
Yeah, for the extra info.
Yeah, home of myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, home of yourself.
Coach AC.
Coach AC, MMA striking coach, coach of UFC extraordinaire Dan Kelly.
Yup.
Soon to be coach of, as is rumoured, as we'll talk about later, another up-and-coming superstar of the UFC
Yeah.
lightweight division.
Pretty exciting time to be at the Ring Gym, recording from the Ring Gym. Great place to train.
Ambient.
Come get your head kicked off.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dan Kelly, I was just telling Matt before that I saw a tweet from someone before saying they're surprised he hasn't been given a WWE contract because he has a win on his record that is TKO, method of victory, thrown out the ring.
I'm scared to know what a anabolic Dan Kelly's body would morph into. It would ruin his whole kind of endearing dad bod and.
No one's ever accused him of tyrannobol picograms, have they?
No, I think that would be that would be a pretty broad stretch of the imagination.
You know how you know he's not on the roids? Because he's taped together.
Because he's a rectangle with arms and legs sticking
Yeah,
out of it.
taped together.
Taped together. He's also extremely grumpy. I would hate to think what Dan Kelly roid rage would manifest as.
Oh yeah, that
People being thrown out of
rings.
this facility, perhaps.
All right, enough rambling. Few things to go over. We'll obviously be watching the card this week and doing a live chat straight away afterwards. We'll try not to get as drunk this time as we did last time. But watching it back, it was actually okay. So please do join us. I'm expecting this to be a fun card with heaps of shit to discuss afterwards. So there's some pretty consequential fights on there.
It's a big card, and then we're going to go fishing.
Yeah. So please join us. Bring your good humour. We missed unemployed Mario Yamasaki last week. Please come back. We need you.
Because you only catch fish while you're smiling.
That is true. Jesus died for our fins.
Yeah.
To steal a Mattism. Should we jump right into this main card?
Let's get into it, my G.
Okay, let's rip into it. First fight, 6-fight main card again. Oh yeah, we should talk about the event. We're talking about UFC Fight Night. Listed some places 144. Fortaleza, Brazil, Assuncao versus Moraes 2. 6-fight main card on this one, and it's just like there's no early prelims. It's just prelims and main card.
Really?
Which for no real reason appeals to me.
How many fights on the card, sorry?
There is 13 fights in total.
Lucky 13.
Yeah. So first fight of the main card. And if you want my picks for the whole card, it'll be the last video we put up. First fight of the main card is Lavinia Souza versus Sarah Froda.
Who?
Yeah. Who? Mike Jones. Did you want me to start off with this, Maddie?
Yes.
Okay. Maddie's had a very busy week. We both have actually, so you know how it is. Lavinia Souza, 12-1. That singular loss she has is a loss to Angela Hill back in Invicta. We all know Angela Hill's a pretty competent fighter. Souza's very aggressive.
Stupid haircut.
Yeah, bad haircut. Souza's very aggressive and she moves well. Seems to have some pretty genuine power. She's got 8 of her 12 wins finished by submission. Pretty impressive. And she likes to throw a big looping overhand right that is kind of effective.
Yeah.
Sarah Froda, 9-0 on the regional scene in Brazil, of course. She has 5 submissions, 2 KOs. Looks like she's just being released from prison the day of any given fight she's taken.
Likely.
She looks like a maniac. Yeah, saw a recent fight where she appeared to gas in the first round, which is never good. She has a pretty heavy left hand, and she will just walk straight forward like a zombie through damage to try and land that left. Where I think what's going to happen in this fight, I think these two are going to collide because they both fancy themselves as pretty powerful strikers. And then I expect Souza having the superior footwork and movement to get more shots off and kind of land more. So I'm expecting Souza to win, and I think she might even get a KO because I don't think Froda has fought anywhere near this level before.
Nah, and I think I've got a superficial understanding of Souza. I think I've watched her before in Victor. So I don't try and occupy too much of my time with, but I saw her fight Angela Hill, and what you tend to see, and just like with a superficial, understanding and perspective on this fight, is when you see big muscle-bound girls like Froda come through with limited experience, come up against a more experienced seasoned campaigner in the debut in the UFC, they tend not to have too much to offer other than beef and brawn.
Yeah.
And it looks like, so then you'd give her a puncher's chance, but it looks like Souza's probably actually got the upper hand in that rounds too. So
yeah, I believe so. So yeah, Souza by KO, wouldn't be surprised if it's a decision. Obviously, Froda's never lost before, but she also hasn't fought anyone good.
They must have a big following, or one of them must have a big following in Brazil. It seems unusual that they would get a look on a main card.
Or they're trying to push Souza, perhaps.
Could be, yeah.
Trying to build up some stars in Brazil.
Yeah.
That could be the one. Or they just don't have enough good fighters to fill out these
in that
cards.
division. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, but I guess too, for that division you do see them trying to find some new people to kind of
get excited about.
Yeah. Next fight of the night, speaking of getting excited, we have perhaps two of the most annoying characters in the UFC, Johnny Walker versus Justin Ledet.
El Blanco.
This is a light heavyweight fight. Did you want to start off on this one?
Yeah, sure. I'm excited to see this because
Yeah.
Johnny Walker's a complete fucking meat axe. What was that song he came out to in his last fight? Something absurd.
I can't remember.
But we corresponded via text message about it.
Yeah. What? I can't remember, man.
Anyway,
But-
if anyone can remember.
He came out and he was doing like a stripper routine. Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah. And two, you didn't mention two very unusual looking characters too. It looked like they would trying to sell you a, used bicycle or one of those characters. Justin Ledet, he has a real kind of Larry Holmes style almost boxing stance, and also the way he uses his hands is quite. It's heavy boxing technique. Well, the thing about MMA is that you've only got 4-ounce gloves on, and they don't provide the protection that in terms of defensive protection that boxing gloves do. And so you tend to see guys who come through with that kind of that kind of defensive style being pretty open and to strikes from counter boxes. The other thing about Justin Ledet is he turns his front foot in a hell of a lot, and he's real heavy on the front leg. On the other hand, Johnny Walker has got really piss poor boxing, but quite wild and but heavy strikes from what we've seen of him. But he can kick like crazy, and he's fucking long. So I see, and we also saw a pretty good clinch game from him as well, quite
really,
vicious.
Really nice clinch game. Remember those elbows?
Yeah, dang, they were crazy. So I imagine that the key for success is going to be Ledet to punch his way through this fight. And to get behind big long punches, but at the same time that means he's going to be heavy on his front leg, and it means Johnny Walker going to be able to towel that front leg up and then come back upstairs with some kicks. So look, it's an interesting stylistic matchup, and they can both be quite wild. I think we might see Justin Ledet maybe trying to stay long behind his punches and then maybe take Johnny Walker down.
Yeah.
And we'll see Walker trying to kick from the outside.
Yeah, I think for this one, so I think Ledet's going to want to stand. That's what he prefers to do in his fights. And he's got that beautiful jab. It's a real nice jab, better than most that you see in MMA, but that comes with a cost, like you're saying. in order to maintain a jab like that, you're fighting like a boxer, and there's all the pitfalls of that. Yeah, I think Walker's got an experience, an advantage if it does go to the ground. Also, like, I feel like Ledet's path to victory here is prior knockout, and he has a very low knockout ratio for a light heavyweight.
Yep.
So I don't think that's very likely. And I just feel like at some point, over 3 rounds, fucking around with Johnny Walker, you're going to catch a flying knee or a maniacal elbow, and it's going to hurt.
Which I should have elaborated on my point. I think the reason I thought Ledet will try and get it to the ground is his front leg's going to get towed up.
Right.
And I think that's going to induce some panic, because if a boxer can't come forward on their front leg and use their front leg to cover space, then they need to take it to a different realm onto the ground. Yeah. And on his way down there, he might get caught in that clinch and knee and elbow to death.
Yeah.
So I'll go Johnny Walker, probably by decision. I'm not sure he's going to be able to finish Ledet off, but we'll see what happens.
What did I have? For the sake of consistency, I'm going back to my notes and what I picked in my other
Contemporaneous notes.
Where the fuck are they? I definitely had Walker by KO, and I didn't have a round, but let's say 2. Just
round 2?
Yeah, for the fuck of it. All right, next fight of the night. And I think this fight was added just recently, because it wasn't on there a week ago or something, but we got Charles Oliveira, recently secured the most submissions in the UFC record, versus David Tamor 8-1, coached by Firas Zahabi.
Yep.
Oliveira 24-8, very experienced. He's been in there with the best of the best, with some mixed results, but he's a submission ace.
Yep. Submission ace. He's also the frustrating thing with Charles Oliveira is his inconsistent presentation in terms of his last couple of fights. He's been great, but he's also been known to give up and to quit, or not to put in 100% effort. And so the first round is really important to him. And a guy like Tamor, who can pour on the pressure in the first round, and who's got really nice striking, and punches really hard. I'm interested to see what that could do to Oliveira's spirit, but at the same time, Oliveira is so fucking dangerous. He's wily with his striking. He's really good at getting people to the ground early, and when he gets you there, you're fucking buggered, mate.
You're toast.
You're toast.
Yeah, so this is a cool matchup too. Good matchmaking, because Tamor's never been submitted in his pro career, albeit it's only been 9 fights. His only losses by decision. My thoughts here were similar to the last one, where Tamor is not known for being a finisher, and over 3 rounds with Charles, with Dubronx in there, I feel like he's going to get to a position at some point in the fight.
Has Tamor not got a whole ton of TKOs and KOs to his record?
No.
What does it say on his stats? He's got 50% KO TKO ratio.
Yeah, but those are from his early career. UFC, he ain't been finishing dudes.
I
remember that's what my point was. Now, so in recent times he's been going to decision. And I think over 15 minutes with Oliveira, there's going to be a point in that fight where Oliveira is going to
takes it somewhere dark.
And that's another good thing about Oliveira's game, is he creates chaos and gets the fight into positions that favor him. So I'm picking Oliveira by sub, probably later in the fight.
Yeah, later in the fight. I'm with you there.
Just hope you don't quit on me.
Don't quit.
Alright, next fight of the night. Another interesting one. We got number 8 ranked welterweight Damian Maia coming up against Lyman Good, fighting out of Tiger Schulman. Maia 25-9, Good 20-4, ex-Bellator guy. Was out for a few years, but has had really good results in the UFC. Went to a very close decision, I thought, with Zaleski dos Santos, who is a fucking beast. And that was a tough fight. Do you remember? There was, I think, before the last round, Good's in his corner, and they're like, and he's been fighting real hearty, and
Yeah.
his corner goes to him, they're like, what's wrong? And he's like, I don't want to get knocked out. And his cornerman is like,
I remember.
yeah, I thought you'd remember it. His cornerman's like, fuck it, go get fucking knocked out.
Yeah.
Fucking, and
It came out hard in the
yeah,
third.
yeah. And it was just a real cool insight into the mind of a fighter, because watching the fight, you're like, this dude's giving it everything.
Yeah.
But his corner wanted some more.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
I love that shit. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and the corner knows you best. Or they should, unless
Yeah.
you've got your mum, your dad, and your brother. And
Yeah,
shout out to Ostrovich.
yeah. Fuck.
Well, fuck yeah. Well, if you're fighting Maya, there's no surprises with Maya. Everyone knows what his game plan is. There's no new tricks.
No.
He comes with the same game every time. He's gonna be diving in on that ankle. Like, he doesn't
Yeah.
even shoot. He just dives on that
Yeah,
ankle.
yeah.
And if he gets hold of it, he's gonna be like a anaconda on that, and he's just gonna keep going for it. So if you've got a fight camp, you can simulate that really easily. Like his box, he's not the best puncher in the world, but his punching's pretty good, so he can do some damage with
Got
you.
that long left hand, eh?
It's big and long, yeah. So he can do some damage. It's not hard to get guys into imitate that to improve on your counter wrestling and get your counter wrestling game good with them. What you can't really prepare for is the level of confidence that David Meyer brings to a grappling exchange.
Yeah.
So if he gets you with your back on the cage and your butt on the ground, you're in big trouble, you know. And as soon as he starts locking up wrists and trapping wrists, you're in big trouble. If he gets you down in the middle of the ring, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So that's the ingredient for success for Meyer, is to make a takedown stick and work his way to the back. Lyman Good, pretty decent wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, Good's got good. Good's got good. Good's got good takedown defense. He's not a wrestler the same caliber as the last three guys that have beaten Damian Maia, but he's a far better striker than those guys. Really well-schooled striker. Yeah, and if it's just a matter of can he stuff the takedown, and if he does, then Damian Maia's in a fucking world of trouble, because Lyman Good's a fucking beast.
I think that something else that's worth mentioning about Damian Maia is he has yet to be knocked out. Like, cannot knock him out.
Yeah, yeah.
And so if you're bringing a power game and you're looking at knocking Damian Maia down, you need to be really careful about following him down onto the ground, because he will pull guard.
Yeah, yeah.
He will pull guard on you, and he's coy as well. Like he might even sucker you into that kind of game, because he knows what his path to victory is. It's not a decision. It's through submission. So I wouldn't even be surprised if you see a wily old Damian Maia pull guard in this fight. We'll see.
Yeah, well, he's got to change something, right? Because it ain't been working.
He's a one-trick pony at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to note that I think both in the Colby and Usman fights, neither of those guys attacked Maia when he was on the ground until like third, fourth round at least, till he was really fucked.
I don't know how to pick this fight. I really don't. I don't know how this is going to go.
I'm thinking good, and my reasons are Maia's 41. Those last three fights, he's taken a lot of damage. Man, you got to wonder where his confidence is at after those three fights, because they're pretty demoralizing beatings. But yeah, he's always got that chance, right?
And spurred on by a hometown advantage, we'll see.
Yeah, but I'm picking good, and I'm wondering when the damage is going to catch up with Maia.
It's usually later in a fight for Maia.
Yeah. So I'm thinking a striker the caliber of Good, he might be able to finish him later in the fight if he's able to stuff the takedowns early.
Yeah.
So I'm picking Good for a late finish, and it might be one, because Maia's so tough, it could be like a referee stoppage or a corner stoppage or something. I hope, if it's turned out like those other fights, just call it.
I'm picking Lyman Good for a nice bronze fake tan.
Doesn't he look beautiful?
He's a beautiful man.
Yeah.
And a finely manicured facial hair presentation.
It's another trademark at Tiger Shulman, guys.
Yeah,
a lot of them
looking
have
good.
that.
Got a good barber. And I'm going Maia second round rear naked choke.
Yeah. Oh, another note I forgot to mention on this is Good's kicking game's a big part of his offense. I wonder if he'll put that away early. We'll see. Quite likely though, because you don't want to like put any legs out there.
Yeah, unless you're kicking high.
Yeah.
I don't think kicking high is a problem with mine.
Yeah. All right. On to the next fight of the night. Co-main event. This is an exciting one. Number 2 ranked flyweight? Featherweight, sorry. Jose Aldo versus number 5th ranked Renato Moicano. Aldo, 27-4, former champion, obviously. Renato, 12-1. No KOs on Renato's record.
No. Shall we?
Just noticed that now.
Yeah, I'm wondering where the best place is to start the breakdown of this fight is from. I guess given Aldo's ability to counter takedowns and not to be taken down, and Renato's well-rounded skill set, being able to fight on the feet as well on the ground, you'd expect that the majority of this fight will probably play out on the feet.
Yeah, for sure.
Aldo's incredibly hard to take down, and I think both guys will be looking forward to putting on a bit of a show. New blood versus old blood, and in Brazil, both have that kind of modified Muay Thai approach to MMA striking, which makes it like kind of the dream fight for me. Like, I just love this shit.
Yeah.
And Jose Aldo is someone who I've watched a ton of tape on and modified it into my own game. Like, I understand his game so well, all the different components, right back to WEC days. Shout out to Uriah Hall's legs. Uriah Faber. Yo, Coach Andy. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I think this really, the styles really play into Jose's kind of skill set here. His kryptonite in the past has been 2 losses to Aldo, 2 losses to Holloway, 1 loss to McGregor. Both guys with really sharp, quick boxing, and who play a different kind of rhythm than the traditional Muay Thai cadence. When Jose's come up against guys with that kind of modified Muay Thai striking, he's been able to find the path to victory quite easily. I think we're going to see him go back to his kicks that we haven't seen a lot from him in recent times, because think about Edgar, where he only boxed. Holloway, he wasn't able to get too many of them off. So I think we'll see a kind of a return to 101 Jose Aldo. But then, like, you got to think, Moicano's really good at traveling backwards, and those kick setups of Aldo against someone who can move backwards, they can check and counter off those. So it's a appetizing fight.
That's it's not as common a skill as you would think in MMA, the art of moving backwards and
not.
Being safe and being able to attack.
Yeah, especially with someone who finishes like their last beat or their last shot in a sequence is the leg kick.
I guess it's interesting because Aldo's last fight versus Stevens, because I thought Aldo was shot. And I was like, I don't want to see him lose to Jeremy Stevens. That's going to be terribly depressing. And then he came back. It was pretty incredible. I think that's going to be a factor to consider here too, is because, man, those losses Aldo suffered to McGregor, then to Holloway, I can't imagine the effect mentally that takes on a guy who'd been so dominant, and then to get dominated 3 fights in a row real badly. I think his confidence would have taken a big hit. So coming back with a win, you saw how much that meant to him. I think you'll see him come in and look more like himself early on in the fight here.
I think so.
In saying that, Moicano only has that loss to Ortega, which is a fight I believe he was
guillotine.
winning. And that's, how Ortega does. He loses fights till he wins them, except against Max.
Yeah, he's got more third round finishes than anyone else in the UFC, I'm pretty sure. Ortega.
Moicano's real good at establishing and dictating a long range for the fight. That could be a key for him here, being a little bit longer.
Think about the jab on Cub Swanson that knocked Cub Swanson to the ground. That pretty much knocked him out, which allowed him to get the finish.
Yeah, he's got that nice right hand counter. And I love his game. He comes out with like throwing the leg kick, throwing the jab, and it's quite simplistic, and he establishes range. And then as the fight progresses, he starts opening up with more weapons, and it's like, dude really paints a picture. And as far as like a kind of decision-focused fighter goes, he's great to watch. He's like entertaining fighter to watch usually, you know, like a guy who outpoints opponents can be a bit, you want to see guys going for finishes, but Moicano's real entertaining. You went into Jose's game pretty well. And
I think like so if you think, because I think the Ortega fight is an interesting one to consider, given that they've faced many of the same opponents. So think about, I agree, I think Moicano probably had the upper hand in that fight in terms of the striking exchanges, but it was really close. Like Ortega's made massive gains in terms of his striking sense. But look what Holloway did to him. But in saying that, look how Aldo was able to stick in some regards with Holloway later into the fight. And I think, I think there's an interesting comparison there. That's kind of, for me, that kind of showcases where Moicano's striking is at compared to Aldo's. And I think Aldo's is in a higher realm, and he's playing Aldo's game. And I think that's where the fight's going to play out. So for me, Aldo wins this fight by playing that game.
I'm fancying Moicano. I see your point, but I do think that Ortega's quite a unique opponent, and that lots of different people are going to look different against him because his threats are different. So like and his striking has come along heaps. But even like a few fights ago where we weren't real aware of his potential in striking, he's still kind of like good instinctual fighter. And he presents dangers in kind of like an unconventional manner, and then obviously the threat of like no one wants to get him to get wrapped around them. I'm just picking Moicano here, and I just see him controlling it, and this fight getting away from Jose, particularly if it goes a couple rounds. And saying that, I would fucking love to see Jose get another win. He's one of my favorites of all time, and I could go another like Jose Aldo post-fight celebration, like emotional celebration. I fucking loved that, man.
I've got a feeling that Jose Aldo is going to get this done at near the end of the first round.
All right.
TKO.
I'm picking Moicano by decision. We'll see what happens. Final fight of the night, another great Brazilian versus Brazilian matchup. Two real contenders for the bantamweight strap, my favorite division. Number 3 ranked Rafael Assuncao versus number 4 ranked Marlon Moraes. Assuncao 27-5, Moraes 21-5, both very experienced guys. Moraes, World Series of Fighting champion. Moraes, these guys have met before in a fight which Assuncao took a decision win, which was very close. You could argue it either way. Assuncao has a win over current champion, TJ Dillashaw, and then in a rematch he lost to Dillashaw. And both these guys have been fucking smashing it and deserve a shot at the title. So fuck Henry Cejudo off. Let's see the winner of this fight. Yeah, man.
And this is a rematch. Obviously, the first one was a great fight. As you've said, I guess for me there was two kind of main themes in that fight. The first was that Assuncao had power in his hands and was able on a couple of occasions to hurt Moraes really bad, to the point that he put him on the deck and they really left an exclamation mark on the fight, certainly on the rounds, and in the judges' eyes. Where on the other hand, you've got Marlon, who, with his World Series of Fighting experience, has done plenty of championship 5-rounders, and has gone the distance plenty of times and has real championship experience. And in what you saw, the other theme in that fight was him being able to come through in the later rounds, to stick it out and to grind through to the end. I kind of felt like Moraes probably had that in the bag, that fight for me. And I think over 5 rounds, if Assuncao can't put him away with that power, that our speed is going to be a bit of an advantage here, and the ability to kind of persevere and get it done over 5.
Yeah, I think like looking at that first fight, frame-wise, Assuncao's a lot chunkier than Moraes, and he's carrying a lot more muscle, and he's a power striker, like you're saying. I think, and man, you saw in that fight too, Moraes' ability to recover.
Yeah.
Like he got dropped, and he just got, like, he dropped to his knees.
Yeah.
It was a heavy shot, so he got straight back up, and he was like, looked like the exact same fighter he was as before the knockdown occurred. So I think his ability to recover is pretty incredible. And yeah, going 5 rounds, being the smaller, faster, more mobile guy is going to serve him well.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of people picking Assuncao, and I'm guessing because he got the W in the last one, but I think if you watch that fight, I think Moraes is the better, more skilled, presents more threats. And then in his recent fights, he's looking more and more dangerous.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Last 2 fights, he fucking starched Aljamain, that scary fucking knockout. And then Jimmy Rivera as well.
Yeah.
And Rivera ain't no fucking joke. He's like 24-1. And it was like, at that point, people were saying, oh, well, the winner of Moraes versus Rivera. And I think people were slightly favoring Rivera.
Yeah.
They're like, the winner of that fight's obviously the next challenger. And Marlon kicked his head off.
Yep.
So Rivera had never been knocked out either. So Marlon's looked dangerous lately, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets Assuncao out of there at some point.
If he does, I've got a feeling we're going to see that, and I know it's not that common, but in the later rounds, maybe near the second half of the third, maybe even leading into the start of the fourth.
Yeah.
Like he can sustain that and be dangerous late into the fight. Yeah. And if Assuncao fades at that part of the fight, that's when it's going to happen. That Moraes head kick's a fucking weapon.
Yeah. I wouldn't, if like, I'm not a fucking coach, obviously, but I feel like a great game plan for Moraes would be like, do your thing, like stay mobile, like don't blow all your energy getting into wild exchanges, and take him deep, and then put it on him. Like start at round 3, round 4, start putting it on him. I think that would be a smart game plan. So it looks like we're both favouring Moraes here. Method of victory?
Moraes TKO.
Yeah, I like.
I'm gonna go 4th round.
Yeah, I like KO also, and I'm gonna say, just to be different from you, 3.
Round 3, late round 3.
Oh, I put by decision in my thing.
Yeah, I can see both of those things happening, but you're gonna have to be specific.
Has Assuncao been finished before? It's going to take me a long time to find out. Never mind. Okay, so that's the picks for the main event this weekend. Where's my fucking schedule? Oh, fuck your face up this week. Man, it's between one of 2 men in the very same bout.
Yeah.
You can't see Walker's face here, but it's either him or Ledet, bro. I hate Ledet's head.
I fucking hate Ledet's head. He looks like he's trying to sell you a used car wearing a suit that's 2 times too small for him.
Yeah, what is he? He looks like PE coach with bad breath that like yells in your face.
Yeah. What would his name be if he was a PE coach with bad breath? Mr. Blanco?
Yeah, Mr. Blanco.
Mr. Blanco from PE with the badass breath, eh?
Right,
brush your teeth.
He kind of looks like Black Kenny Powers.
Yeah. He does. He's got like one of those mini mullets.
Yeah.
Like just a flap at the back.
Yeah. He's a dick too, man. Like his behavior in the ring, abhorrent. He talking shit and like just being a jerk with that annoying face. Like someone else I'd tolerate, but this guy, fuck him.
Fuck your face, Justin Ledet.
Yeah.
A.K.A. Mr. Blanco from PE.
Yeah, and then we're supposed to talk about his path to victory, which I guess is just jab Johnny Walker's head off.
I reckon they're going to get their goatees entangled in the clinch. They're going to get goatees entangled in the clinch, and upon trying to separate them, separate their goatees, there's going to be an inverted eye poke, and where Justin's eye gets seriously injured, and that's going to be the victory is going to go to Justin by disqualification.
Looking at Ledet's face makes me wish to have an eye injury.
Yeah. Double eye injury.
That's this week's Fuck Your Face Up. Let's get into... Oh, no, first, what about... So, down below on the undercard, anything we're looking forward to? I like Ramos versus Nurmagomedov, mainly for Ricardo Ramos. I really like that guy.
Can I tell you something I'm not looking forward to? Seeing Albini wearing shorts again.
I'm kind of amped for that. Oh, but they told him he's not allowed to do it, eh?
Thank fuck for that.
Right.
Albini, if you don't know what we're talking about, go and search Albini's debut in the UFC, where he wore a pair of adult nappies into the ring.
So good, and because he does, and his nickname's Baby, and he looks actually like a baby with a beard.
But I'm excited to see him throw some head kicks.
Yeah,
that dude's crazy, like crazy athletic for someone of his stature.
Yeah.
And anytime I can watch Alves fight, dang.
Yeah. Max Griffin's a good opponent also. Yeah. Perez versus Hernandez has potential to be a very exciting fight. Those guys both exciting action fighters. So yeah, some good shit on the undercard. What the fuck is this fight?
Two characters who haven't been unlocked yet in the UFC.
Holy shit.
They'll be off the Brazilian Contender Series. I reckon Geraldo de Freitas Jr.
versus Felipe Colares.
The potato in Spanish? Is that what it means?
Yeah, I think so. I did my video for this on the weekend, and this fight wasn't on the card, I'm sure. Oh well, never mind.
Dog shit.
We got some news to rip into just quickly. Did you watch the Bellator card?
Nope.
Matt, what would you say if I told you Ryan Bader could go from being a middling light heavyweight in the UFC to a double champion in the Bellator?
No, really?
Yeah.
You're into that sort of stuff?
Not at all. But I caught a legal stream, sorry. I was about to say illegal. I don't mind paying for Bellator. I caught it, and just in time for that main event, and yeah, I think people have been kind of getting themselves excited, like, man, Fedor got some wins. Bro, he beat Chael Sonnen, who's also like, A, he's a middleweight. Yeah. B, he should also be retired.
He should be a commentator.
Yeah, he beat a washed Chael Sonnen, who's not a heavyweight, in a heavyweight competition tournament. He beat a really washed Frank Mir.
Yeah. Last time I saw Frank Mir was at ACB, and he was dry rooting his missus in the hallway when we were walking out with Cal Potter.
Fuck, imagine getting...
He was supposed to be commentating.
Imagine getting dry rooted by Frank Mir. Yuck.
Yuck.
That's so yuck.
Yuck.
So I guess all in all...
Do you know what I remember from this card that I never watched? Is that you sent me the legal stream, and it downloaded a virus onto my phone. And ever since I've had my phone, I've been getting messages from women with Russian names saying, "Hi, this might seem weird, but I think you're cute. Want to see me fuck myself?"
That's not weird at all.
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
Well, they speak. Yeah. Well, that will be my memory from this fight. And
a message like that doesn't need to be prefaced by, "Hey, this might seem weird." Just go straight into it.
Well, I was sitting there with friends last night at dinner, and my phone was face up, and there was small children around, and my phone illuminated to a comment of the like that was visible to all.
Has your wife, aka my sister-in-law, seen it? Seen one just pop up and be like, "Hey."
I prefaced that with an explanation about why that kind of stuff was on my phone. Eh?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So Bellator.
Yeah, Bellator sucks. Aaron Pico got rolled, and he's been an interesting prospect, and he's taken a step back. So that is kind of a bummer for Bellator and fight fans. What else happened? The guy with a 0-1 professional record fighting on the main card lost in like 30 seconds. Wow.
Oh shit.
Who would have
really?
seen that
into that
coming?
Sort of stuff?
So that's enough about Bellator. Let's not name this next person, because I doubt it's going to happen, but I just want to be safe legally. I'm no fucking liar.
They're going to take us from all we're worth, eh?
Yeah, but a certain Irish sports star, has the rumor...
Eddie the Eagle?
Yeah. The rumor mill is going wild, and I don't want to say too much about it because it's pretty fucking gross and awful. But if people are familiar with it, there's plenty of information out there. And then, so yesterday, remember the memo that was leaked that named said Irish sports star and gave some details on what had happened. So an alleged rape. The source of that memo was confirmed by paper.
The Irish Times again, the same paper?
Yeah, and the guy...
It's a reputable news source.
Yeah, and it's a reputable journalist who wrote that memo as well. And so the paper confirmed that, yes, he wrote the memo, this journalist by name.
Oosh.
And so there seems to be some real credence to it, which could, I don't know, just... There's some powerful people with a lot of money involved here, so who knows what will come of it. But
the goons.
Yeah, there's also that. So, yeah, pretty fucked up shit, and horrible. What else do we have? Oh, Yoel versus Paulo Costa, Juicy Boys.
Who's the boys?
Has been made. There's some real good fights getting made. It feels like UFC's kind of launching shit off in a lovely way with ESPN this year, so pretty exciting shit. That's me.
That's a little story for the Instagram.
Oh, right, I wonder what you're doing.
It's not working though.
Oh, yeah. Melbourne coming up next weekend. We're obviously going to be there.
Yeah, we are.
Louis coming. He's over there doing something.
Our production assistant.
Yeah, being useless actually.
He's keeping a tight perimeter.
As Matt alluded to earlier, Kellen Potter.
There's been some suggestions on Flow Grappling. They said that some sources close to the situation have suggested that he might be on the card.
Yeah, how close to the situation are you?
Well, I'm very close, and at the moment for me it's rumours and innuendo.
Right.
But I'm really excited at the prospect of seeing the bro and the coach on there. So fingers crossed that that deal gets made with the UFC.
Yeah.
For those of you that have been following us on Instagram, there was a bit of back and forth with Naughty Boy MMA, aka Naughty Boy Fight Picks, and the Tarantula, Jalen Turner.
Yeah.
And we demanded it. We demanded this fight, so hopefully he's come to the party, because I'm a legs man.
We grabbed Dana White by the scruff of the neck and said, "God damn it, boy, you got to make this fight."
Said, "Listen, you bastard.
Listen, you rat bastard."
Yeah. So fingers crossed that gets done, man, because that could be the best of all time.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
And I much prefer that innuendo and rumor to the innuendo and rumor we were talking about previously. Much happier. That wraps up news. Let's get into the naughtiest boy of the week.
Who is?
No, I want my bacon. I gotta tell you something. Bacon is good for me.
Naughtiest boy of the week. Could have gone to Scott Coker again because he tried to put someone else without any professional wins on a fucking main card.
Yeah.
But no, but it's also Bellator related because there's no UFC last week. Ryan,
shout out to my business partner Dan Coker, also a naughty boy.
Yeah, what is he? So Ryan, this week's naughtiest boy is Ryan Bader, obviously for knocking out the legend Fedor with the first strike of the match.
Yeah, fuck, that was a long ass hook.
Yeah, it was.
Damn, looks like he's trying to get something off the shelf, eh?
Yeah, a real far away shelf.
Yeah, Fedora's fucking consciousness.
A shelf in the neighbour's house. But yeah, Ryan Bader out here shattering people's fucking nostalgic hearts and
so naughty
hopes and dreams for a Fedor comeback at 48 years old or whatever he is.
Fedor's going to make one last final comeback and open a used car dealership with Ledet.
You know what I heard yesterday? So what podcast was it? It was one of the Bloody Elbow ones, but the guys were discussing Fedor and they're big fans and they're like, oh, we'd like to see him take one last fight. but one where we're not scared for his well-being. And then like they mention someone, and you're like, oh yeah, that could be cool. And then the next dude mentions is Mark Hunt. It's like, if you're concerned for Fedor's well-being, you don't want to put him in there with Mark Hunt.
Fuck, I didn't even think about that. That's going to be on Risen.
Yeah.
They're going to make that fight happen on Risen.
Hashtag would watch.
Hashtag would watch.
Would watch it. That's pretty much us for today.
Oh wait, we met probably our biggest fan, the most condescending critic on YouTube this morning.
Did he correct us on the pronunciation?
Yeah, fuck that guy. Stinky Floato. We met him this morning.
Yeah, we did meet him.
In a professional capacity, also an exceptionally unprofessional capacity.
Yeah.
I'm torn. So, you know, he got us to, you know, sign some merchandise, sign a couple Naughty Boy tees for him. He got us to sign his mountain bike. Good luck, Stinky Floato, with your diet. I hope it all works out for you.
Yeah, this dude ain't eaten since January the 1st of 2018.
Yeah, nothing but methamphetamine since then.
Please do join us. Obviously, like, subscribe. We really appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe. Hit us up with comments. We didn't even get into comments this week. I knew I'd forget something. We'll get at you next week, or maybe in the live chat. And so do join us for the live chat straight after the fights this weekend.
Who's the boys?
Yeah.